Hi. So, I done taken a load back to the warehouse, and I'm about to go get me another load. And stopped over at Arby's and had me a little French dip with the Azus sauce or the Azus or whatever you call it. And a guy came in, and I've known him from around, just various places. And he has a history, and he's fighting with his demons and everything. And we got to sit, and he came in and was just sitting there and doodling on some paper. And I says, "You mind if I sit with you and you talk?" And we talked. He says, "No." So I got to talking to him and found out that he had a time in his life where he was an artist, and some things, life got in the way, and he's trying to get back to that point. And I was talking with him, and this is one of the things that I do. This is how I want to help people. Little sidebar here, but I honestly want to help people. So he wants to become a tattoo artist. I says, well, that's great. I was like, but I was like, with demons and everything that you're fighting is being around, a particular class of people. You're not saying all people are bad, but, people with tattoos are bad. I'm just saying tattoo parlors are known, to maybe be a little seedy. He says, well, it's the only way I know how to get my art out into the world. I says, well, if you're going to tattoo, why not do the same exact thing, but on metal, and maybe do airbrushing? Because he does like the Japanese, manga, I think it's called. And he does, he draws all the sexy girls and all that stuff. I says, well, why don't you learn how to airbrush? Because I could tell you just about everybody I know would want some Japanese girl on their car. I says, you can do it like the old World War II bombers where they painted the planes. I was like, why don't you just learn how to do the same exact thing you're doing now, but do it with an airbrush gun, and then you can just go out to, any car show and, go look at good cars and beautiful women and say, hey, I do airbrushing, $200, and I'll paint your favorite character on the hood or on the side of your car. He's like, I've never thought about that, And I says, while you're drawing, why don't you take your, camera and put it up above where your hand's drawing? And I says, why don't you record yourself while you draw a picture? I said, how long does it take to draw a picture? He says, about 30, 40 minutes. I was like, well, why don't you just come up with a story of why you're drawing that particular character, or talk about, a story about your life that, isn't too personal. I said, just put it out into the world, put it on YouTube, put it on TikTok, put it on whatever, and just put yourself out there as an artist. I said, you never know what can happen. It may inspire people, it may do, whatever. He's like, that's a really good idea. And I sat down with him, offered him food, but, he wasn't hungry. He just goes in there to get away from the place where he's staying. But, this is what I would want to do as my journey through life, is I want to sit down and talk with people and show them different ideas of not how to become rich or, become famous, but just to get by through life and not have to stress about every single decision you have to make in life. And just little aspects of, things you can do to adjust your life just to make it a little bit easier. In fact, I talked with a couple, a long time ago, and still haven't heard back from them. I don't know whatever happened with them, but they needed a door on their house because they were trying to sell the house, and the door was rotted. So, I went over and I was putting in the door for him, and he was a air conditioning repair guy, and she painted murals on the walls of homes, like trees and landscapes and stuff like that, and that's what they did. And she was talking about just, going and painting interior house, inside of houses, just painting the interior walls. If she could contract a mural, she'd do it, but pretty much she was just going to paint to make money. And he was going to try to repair air conditioning systems on RVs I guess I should say they sold their house to move into an RV so they can drive around. So they was going to create mobile business, okay? So, but he was going to repair air conditioning systems on RVs while being mobile, and I told him, I was like, logistically, you know, you can pull work, but logistically, it's going to be very difficult to advertise if 1 week you're in Oklahoma and the next week you're in Arkansas. You know, I says, how are people going to find you, and are you going to be limited because you're waiting on parts, you know, and all that kind of stuff. So I was sitting there doing the door, and by the end of the door, I says, hey guys, I got a plan for you. I says, this may be a little bit crazy, but I think it would work out really well for you. Again, this is how my mind works. So I says, instead of painting houses, take all the stuff, and talking to the wife, I said, take all the stuff you know about doing murals and art and all that, and I says, do airbrushing. You know, same thing I told the guy at Arby's. I said, do airbrushing on a smaller scale, so that way you can go to any flea market in America and say, we do airbrushing work on your car. You know, I can come over and airbrush your mailbox. I can do a bunch of different stuff. But just, you know, do airbrushing, $50, $30 a pop. Do license plates, do whatever. Put names, you know, on the license plate. And she was like, well, I don't know about that. I said, it's out of your comfort zone, but I promise you, if you can transition your skill to that, then you can also do airbrushing, and you can do, you know, say, hey, I do airbrushing, but I also come to your house and I'll paint a mural too. And that way you stay in your artistic realm. And then I went over and I looked at the husband. I said, and you, Mr. Man, with your air conditioning knowledge, I say, am I correct to say air conditioners are nothing but giant compressors? He goes, yeah, basically. I says, well, so you can work on a compressor? He says, yeah, no problem. I says, well, you know, airbrush spray kits are nothing but baby compressors. I was like, how about you call up all these places that sell airbrush kits and say, hey, you know, I can repair them. Do you have any broken ones that I can buy, repair, and resell? You know, and that way, between the two of you, you could be building and selling the airbrush kits, and she could be using them. You know, and I said, then if you get really good, you can start putting some stuff on YouTube and Instagram, and then saying, hey, oh, that car almost wrecked. Then you can say, hey, you know, we have our rebuilt ones you can buy off eBay or Etsy or wherever, or you can buy the set that we use. You know, you might be able to get sponsored through an airbrush company, and say you can, you know, buy the same one that we use, that we're doing all our art with, you know, and do an affiliate program through Amazon or whatever, so that way anytime someone buys the same one you use, you get a kickback off of it. That's what the whole affiliate program is with Amazon. You can say, hey, if anybody wants to buy this doodad, and if people buy it, you get money, period. So, but anyway, that's, you know, and I don't know if they ever did it. They said it was a really good idea, you know, and it made me feel good. Don't ever know what happened. I know the reason they sold their house and bought an RV is because the wife's mother was falling ill, and they wanted to get closer to her, you know, but so I don't know whatever happened with it. I never heard from them again, but I'd like to think that they're out, you know, living their dream and, you know, making money doing airbrushing and rebuilding airbrushing kits. So, but yeah, I'll just since the last video, it's been about an hour, a little bit. Well, no, I don't even know what time it is. That's how many minutes I've been recording. But, you know, and in fact, I have a, you know, well, not really a challenge, but, you know, if anybody's in a situation or something like that and they want to kind of improve their life, you know, let me know what you want to do. Not necessarily on the YouTube platform, but, you know, my phone number's out there. Y'all can find me, and if you don't know my number, ask me. I'll give it to you. But, you know, like, I honestly just want to show people, you know, maybe ways you've already tried, maybe ways you never thought of, you know, but I'm really good at showing people there's different ways of doing things. I mean, look how many times I've done my own life, you know, as far as changed up my own life. So, and ladies and gentlemen, we are just getting started for this year. So there's a lot of shit to come. That's all I can say. It's going to be slow, but it is coming. On that note, peace, love, money.